Professor Xingtung Yao ascended the stage amidst a round of applause. Though elderly, he was full of energy. After delivering a brief welcome speech, he handed the stage over to Lu Xuanqin. In her award acceptance speech, Lu Xuanqin expressed her gratitude to her mentors for their guidance, her classmates for their support, and particularly thanked those who had doubted and criticized her. It was these challenges that had strengthened her resolve on the path of mathematics. After the ceremony, Professor Yao had a private conversation with Lu Xuanqin. He praised her mathematical abilities, especially her paper on the 2+1 dimensional coupled MKP equation, which he highly commended. He mentioned that her problem-solving approach was as imaginative as a flying horse, demonstrating her extraordinary potential in mathematics. He encouraged her to continue striving, suggesting that she could one day reach the level of mathematician Terence Tao. Following this, Professor Yao extended an invitation, asking if she would like to become a student of Edward Witten, the world-renowned mathematician and physicist, and the only person to win both the Fields Medal and the Nobel Prize in Physics. Dean Gao, present as well, emphasized that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Faced with such an invitation, Lu Xuanqin did not make an immediate decision, instead saying that she needed time to consider it. Professor Yao understood and gave her time to make her choice. In the course of their conversation, Lu Xuanqin mentioned her growing interest in research on twin primes. They had an in-depth discussion on the topic. While Professor Yao had not focused on that field, his vast mathematical experience allowed him to provide valuable advice. The talk greatly benefited Lu Xuanqin, and she was eager to dive into her research. After the meeting, Lu Xuanqin and Dean Gao left together. On the way, Dean Gao asked if she had any plans to study abroad. After a brief moment of thought, Lu Xuanqin expressed her desire to attend Princeton University. Dean Gao supported her decision and promised to help her prepare for it over the next 2 years. Back in her dorm, Lu Xuanqin shared her award and experience with her roommates and posted a casual message on Weibo, which was met with an enthusiastic response from her followers. She then returned to her academic research, preparing to tackle a new system-issued mission. The mission was to publish 10 SCI papers in 1 month, a considerable challenge. Despite the immense pressure, Lu Xuanqin was determined to take it on and began exploring new fields of research, especially topics related to automation and programming. In the library, Lu Xuanqin diligently searched for relevant materials, attracting the attention of other students with the towering pile of books she was quickly flipping through. Although she was unsatisfied with her reading speed, she efficiently extracted the most valuable information from the texts to aid in her preparation for writing 10 papers on automation. Students who recognized her began whispering, marveling at her learning methods and her rapid progress in writing research papers. Lu Xuanqin soon completed a paper on automated urban planning. While the quality wasn't perfect, she felt it was satisfactory for an undergraduate level. She continued working on other papers and successfully completed several, ready to submit them to SCI journals. During her busy study and research schedule, her friends Huang Xiang and Zhang Ruolai offered her support, helping her cope with the heavy academic pressure and reminding her of the warmth of friendship. Lu Xuanqin shuttled between the library and her dorm, working day and night to complete her papers. Ultimately, she succeeded in writing 10 papers and quickly submitted them to the relevant journals. Meanwhile, Qin Lina, the former internet influencer who had clashed with Lu Xuanqin in the past, began secretly planning another attack on her. She posted slanderous content on Weibo, accusing Lu Xuanqin of fabricating her papers, which quickly gained traction and caused a stir online, tarnishing Lu Xuanqin's academic reputation. However, Lu Xuanqin remained unfazed by the public criticism. She calmly responded, posting on Weibo to clarify the authenticity of her papers and challenged those who criticized without thoroughly reading them. Secretly, she also used her hacking skills to infiltrate Qin Lina's computer, uncovering her schemes and some unreleased video evidence. While Qin Lina was busy trying to smear Lu Xuanqin, the police, acting on the evidence provided by Lu, swiftly arrested both Qin Lina and her brother-in-law Zhang Yueyu, exposing their criminal activities. As a result, Qin Lina's misdeeds were made public, sparking even greater discussions online, and her public image collapsed. After the incident was resolved, Lu Xuanqin returned to her peaceful academic life, continuing her research. Her roommates were amazed by everything that had transpired, but despite the storm, Lu Xuanqin's confidence and composure never wavered. She proved her abilities through her actions and safeguarded her reputation. Later, Lu Xuanqin and her friends discussed the situation with Qin Lina. Qin Lina, who had repeatedly isolated and framed Xuanqin, had finally been apprehended, and everyone felt a sense of relief. They suggested celebrating, and Xuanqin agreed to treat everyone to a meal. After returning to her small apartment, Xuanqin received a call from Zhang Ruolai. He excitedly told her that news of Qin Lina's arrest was all over Weibo, with many netizens praising Xuanqin's quick thinking. Though Xuanqin felt a sense of relief, she didn't show it. She and Zhang Ruolai made plans to invite their friends to celebrate that evening. That night, Xuanqin and her friends gathered at a restaurant, enjoying good food while discussing Qin Lina's schemes. They were shocked by how long Qin Lina had been plotting in the shadows but were relieved that she had finally been brought to justice. Listening to their conversations, Xuanqin knew that the resolution of this incident was a release for all of them. Online, discussions about Qin Lina grew more intense, with some ill-informed keyboard warriors questioning Xuanqin's accomplishments, claiming her academic achievements were merely a product of media hype. These naysayers, known for belittling domestic culture and technology, dismissed Xuanqin's papers as having little value. However, Xuanqin was unbothered by their comments, having long been prepared to deal with such skepticism. Meanwhile, at Princeton University, Brooks, an editor, was reviewing one of Xuanqin's papers titled On the Distribution of Mersenne Primes and the Proof of Zhou's Conjecture. Brooks was astonished by the paper, as it proposed a groundbreaking new method of mathematical proof. If proven correct, it would be a major breakthrough in mathematics. He immediately contacted Professor Banyazev, the editor-in-chief of Annals of Mathematics, and the two decided to re-examine the paper to verify its accuracy. As the paper neared publication, Xuanqin's reputation in the academic world began to rise. Her intelligence and talent were poised to change the course of mathematical history. As Lu Xuanqin's achievements were announced, her name quickly spread throughout the mathematics community, becoming a hot topic of discussion. The news also attracted widespread attention both within and outside the university. On Yenjing University's BBS forum, students speculated about why President Kai and several professors visited the girls' dormitory to meet Lu Xuanqin. The publication of her paper not only earned her immense academic honor but also made her a figure of great interest. Her classmates were amazed and envious of her talents, believing she was far beyond ordinary. Despite her impressive accomplishments, Lu Xuanqin remained humble and composed, continuing her studies and research, particularly in physics, as she began exploring Polignac's conjecture. As the end-of-term exams approached, Lu Xuanqin maintained her focus and diligent attitude, unaffected by external distractions. Her learning ability and sensitivity to mathematics significantly improved, especially after reaching level 6 in mathematics, which boosted her mathematical intuition, making her studies even smoother. In her family life, Lu Xuanqin returned home to reunite with her parents, who were extremely proud of her accomplishments. Their support and understanding strengthened her determination on her academic path. While at home, she also reflected on how to use her knowledge and skills to give back to society, showing her sense of responsibility towards both her family and the wider community. However, at an international number theory conference, some Western scholars expressed skepticism about her achievements. Dionysius, in particular, doubted that such a young student could have solved Zhou's conjecture on her own, even suspecting that someone else might have ghostwritten her paper. This presented a new challenge for Lu Xuanqin, as she was required to give a 1-hour lecture to prove her capabilities. For a first-year student, this was an enormous pressure, but it also presented a unique opportunity to showcase her talent to the world. After a vote, the International Number Theory Division decided to invite Lu Xuanqin to a mathematics conference at Princeton University, where she would deliver a 1-hour academic report. This attracted significant attention among mathematicians, as most conference talks typically last only 30 minutes. The reason for this special honor was her successful resolution of Zhou's conjecture, which had caused a major stir in the mathematics world. Dean Gao of Yenjing University School of Mathematics received the invitation with mixed feelings. On the one hand, it was an excellent opportunity that could elevate both Lu Xuanqin and the school's reputation. On the other hand, Lu Xuanqin was still just a freshman and had never spoken at such a high-profile international conference. A poor performance could negatively impact her academic career. Ultimately, Dean Gao decided to consult Lu Xuanqin. At that moment, Lu Xuanqin was chatting with villagers back in her hometown, patiently answering their questions about exams and academia. When she received Dean Gao's call and learned about the invitation, she was both excited and humble. Though it was her first time facing such an opportunity, she confidently assured the dean that she would do her best. Dean Gao, reassured by her confidence, agreed to accept the invitation. At the same time, Dean Gao informed Lu Xuanqin that the university would be awarding her 1 million yuan in prize money, along with a housing registration and a discount on home purchases in Yenjing. This news delighted Lu Xuanqin, as it represented recognition of her academic achievements and a crucial step forward in her research career. The school also arranged for her to live in a doctoral-level single dormitory and mentioned that her master's advisor would be chosen from among 3 academicians, further demonstrating the university's high regard for her. After returning to school, Lu Xuanqin met with several academicians and ultimately chose Academician Yuan as her advisor. This choice aligned with her interest in physics, and she was filled with anticipation for her future research. In Academician Yuan's lab, Lu Xuanqin observed her senior, Bai Xiaoyan, conducting research in material science and learned various experimental techniques. Bai explained that the lab was well-funded, supported by both the government and private companies, and mentioned that the intellectual property from their research was usually shared between the lab, the state, and the corporations. As the experiment progressed, Bai shared their latest research findings, a composite material made from polyvinyl alcohol, PVA, and graphene, which showed significant improvements in tensile strength and Young's modulus. Lu Xuanqin was impressed and felt both the challenges and joys of scientific exploration. During the research, Lu Xuanqin also encountered the difficulties of scientific work, especially when Bai mentioned the application of graphene materials in space, which needed high tensile strength, Young's modulus, conductivity, and radiation resistance. This made her realize the challenges of research. Under Bai's guidance, she delved deeper into material science research and decided to use MATLAB software to process experimental data. After returning to her dorm, Lu Xuanqin spent the entire night processing 20 days' worth of experimental data. She eventually developed an optimized solution through mathematical modeling. She successfully found the best coating formula for titanium alloys with PVA composite materials containing 1.9% graphene by volume, which significantly improved the tensile strength and Young's modulus, opening new directions for the lab's research. After the success of the experiment, Academician Yuan highly praised Lu Xuanqin's mathematical model, stating that this research would bring important advancements to the country's aerospace industry. He encouraged her to continue working hard and planned to publish this breakthrough at the appropriate time. Meanwhile, Lu Xuanqin was steadily gaining a reputation in the academic world, especially for her contributions to mathematics, which made her a rising star in the field. With this success, Lu Xuanqin's name quickly spread across the mathematical world, becoming a focal point of discussions. This achievement also attracted attention within and outside the university, as students on Yenjing University's BBS forum speculated about why President Kai and several professors had visited the girls' dormitory area to meet Lu Xuanqin. In addition to bringing her immense academic recognition, the publication of her paper garnered attention from various sectors. Her classmates were in awe of her accomplishments, believing that her talents far exceeded those of ordinary people. Despite these achievements, Lu Xuanqin remained humble and composed, continuing her studies and research, especially in physics, where she began investigating Polignac's conjecture.